And welcome back to Mixed Media. It's another wonderful Mixed Media Monday, as not post 909 Crime would say. Mixed Media Monday. It's a great day, and we have another few hours. We stream sometimes very variably. It could be 1 hour. It could be 4 hours on the longest of days, but probably a few hours together to talk about some of our favorite things, which is anything basically art related. And if you don't know what Mixed Media is, it's a live podcast streamed every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. There's a lot of incorrect times, unfortunately, that need to get changed, and probably by the time I change it, we'll probably change the show time again, knowing my luck. But it's 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and we're always here to talk about pretty much anything art related, whether it's video games, music, movies. We talk about it all from our own perspectives, and we love to share our unique thoughts that are sometimes contrarian, thoughts that are sometimes philosophical, some that are related to business and other things. We talk about a lot of things, so if you are interested in any of that stuff, which is quite a plethora of stuff, please subscribe. Whether you're on Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you are, subscribe, and there's almost certainly something that will tickle your interest if you go look at our large catalog of episodes. The show's been going on for a year and change now, so there's lots of stuff. But before we move on, we should introduce ourselves. So, my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. I own a company called Ariella, based out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania.
And I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a video game developer and 3D modeler.
Sweet. And usually we have a third with us, Ben, but he's sick right now, so send some prayers his direction so that he can get better. And he's got an ear infection, which... oh, those are bad. So I don't envy him at all. But before we talk about the news, shout out to four awesome people, right? Oh, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, no,
I
not
think
me.
so. It's 4, I think.
Yes. So we've got 909 Crime, who's in the chat right now, who is a supporter for us on Locals, and also Kai Kairos, who is also on Locals, Rob Sharma on Locals, and who am I missing? Post on Locals as well. You can join them. If you're on Rumble right now, there's a big red join button. If you click that, you can see our community, see the perks. There's a new perks list that's on there, and there's going to be content coming on there rather soon. I keep saying that. There's been a slow trickle, but hopefully it'll be a deluge, rather soon. There's some stuff that's already pre-edited and stuff like that, just has to go out and be scheduled. So definitely check out our Locals community, and also check out our Discord, which is in the description. We have a Locals chat on there, and it's a pretty lit community. So if you want to talk about anything we talk about during this podcast later on, that's the best way for us to engage and have some fun, in between episodes. So. That's my housekeeping for today.
Yep.
Any news in the gaming world, Nathan? Or in the world at all that you want to talk about?
I forgot to look at anything. 99 Crime had said that Rovio was bought by... what was it? I can't remember what it was. Sega, that's what it was. Bought by Sega.
Yes.
Or what was it, something in the hundreds of millions? Was it $700 million? I feel like. Let me check.
Yeah, it was 700 million euros, I think.
Euros, yeah, which is, I think, 750 million US dollars, approximately. So, that happened. I said that Rovio have been doing stuff, they announced a bunch of games that are, very far off, the traditional Angry Bird style of gameplay, of just, launch.
Is Rovio a European company, or
I think it's Finnish or Swedish or something.
Okay.
Like that. Gotcha. I'll explain the euros, I guess. Finnish is Finnish.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So parent Sega pending. Yeah. Rovio is a surprisingly large company at 500 employees, and it's well, what do they do? because Rovio has made games before Angry Birds. It's just that like once they made Angry Birds, they just didn't make anything else, and they just made Angry Birds because like that was like that was like the golden ticket. And I have never heard of like I know that they've made stuff before Angry Birds, but I don't like actually like know of them. If you get what I'm saying, like I never like I don't even know what they're called, what those games are called, but I don't think they're very popular. So yeah, Angry Birds was like their the golden ticket, and then they did that, and they kept doing that, and they kind of just sat on it for a long time, I think, with random incremental additions to the IP, whether it be like a new game or like just an update, I assume. And yeah, and they announced a bunch of like different. I think either this year or last year they announced a bunch of different types of games that were no longer like the standard, Angry Birds puzzle type game. And I think it mentions a fighting game, there's a racing game, which is kind of funny as an Angry Birds fighting game. But yeah, and it's interesting. I'm assuming based on the style of Angry Birds, it's probably gonna be like a kart racer, the racing game, which would mean that now we have more challengers to Mario Kart. So not only is there that Lego game, that Lego / 2K game, but there's also potentially this Angry Birds game. So yeah,
cool, interesting. Let's see. So from on the film end of things, I assume that was the last gaming thing, right? Because you didn't look up anything else.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else in the moment. So yeah.
Okay, so in the film world, we had a few things. So I noticed that there was some activity on the Alec Baldwin front of things. So I want to update on that. If you don't know, I've done, 3 episodes worth of content on the Alec Baldwin rushed shooting. If you want to hear a filmmaker break down some of the more filmmaker aspects of that, definitely check out our channel. We also did sort of a quasi-legalistic overview of the charging documents, if you want to check that out on the channel as well. Highly recommend, even if you've heard a lot about rush shooting, definitely check out the original content that I put out, because no one's covered it from the sort of filmmaker's perspective, breaking down some of the ways that sets work and some of the standards, etc., etc. But on the continuing news, Alec Baldwin is facing many civil suits, as we've discussed. But the most important ones are the ones that are related to the deceased, right? The husband of Helena Hutchins, I forget his name right now. He sued him a while back, maybe it was like up to 6 months ago. I don't fully remember. But that lawsuit has been settled, meaning there's some undisclosed deal that happened behind the scenes. There were probably money exchanged hands, and we're probably never going to hear anything about that ever again, because if you know anything about civil suits, very, very likely, almost always included in the clause of the agreement for a civil settlement is an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, meaning you can't talk about the terms of the deal. Maybe there are a few exceptions, like you can say, "Oh, I'm innocent," or something like that. But other than that, you can't you can't talk about the quantity that was exchanged hands and stuff like that. So yeah, but on the other side of things, her daughter did a separate suit, and I don't know the exact. I didn't read the suit, so don't sue me if I get the details wrong. And I really hope that it's her daughter, because I'm going completely off of memory right now. But she filed suit. Let me just double check this, because it'll be a critical error if I'm completely wrong. Let's see here. Okay, well, I can't confirm that quickly, but if anyone in the chat knows, definitely let me know ASAP, so I don't continue in critical error. But there's a close family member of Helena who sued her as well, and I'm pretty sure it's her daughter, but I'm not 100% sure. And that has not been settled. We don't know why, of course. We don't know what back and forths have been happening between the lawyers. However, a response to the suit was filed by the lawyers of Alec Baldwin. I want to say something real quick before I tell you what was said, because it's pretty nasty, but a lot of people don't think with critical with a critical eye when their lawyers do things for them, right? I'm not saying Alec Baldwin didn't direct this action or not. I have no idea, but it's much more likely in my head, just thinking about what was said, that a lawyer came up with this language thinking that it was a good legal argument, but it just looks so bad. But basically, this family member sued, and the response was, well, she didn't really have a relationship with you. Your relationship was tantamount to nothing. You're asking for money for a relationship that was basically something that is only of legal merit, and said a whole bunch of nasty. I mean, nasty in the context of like we're all looking at this thing. Some nasty things about their relationship. So if anyone remembers who exactly that was, definitely put it in the chat. But yeah, that's the thing, that if Alec Baldwin, I'm sure he can go and say, well, I didn't say these things. It's my lawyers who wrote it. I mean, your lawyers are representing you, in all capacities. And, when your lawyers tell you to do something, they're not necessarily the most social people at all times. They don't necessarily understand how things will be perceived, that things aren't always just a legal argument to people. So, when your lawyer says, here's the argument that we're going to present, maybe you should, review that and say, can we at least say this in a completely different way, or like not make this the crux of our response to the suit or something like that. But yeah, so that's a little bit rough. Okay, in other news, Rumble. I want to talk about Rumble real quick because Rumble is popping off, and I see a whole bunch of people watching on Rumble right now. Shout out to y'all. Hit that Rumble button. It really, really does help. And definitely hit us up in the chat as well, because you guys never talk. But I wanted to say that Rumble is in its like exponential phase right now. We're like on that, those memes where it's like you are here, and it's like right before like the exponential uptick of a curve. Yeah, that's where Rumble is right now. It is absolutely about to skyrocket. You're getting live numbers that are like easily like dwarfing YouTube live streams. Some people have moved to Rumble. They were pulling like 20k viewers on average on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, and on Rumble they're getting 100k. What does that tell you, my entrepreneurs out in the audience? What does that tell you? That means the demand is higher than the supply, right? That's literally what that means. So if you're not starting a channel right now and you want to start something, or if you have a channel and you're not just like, I don't know, simul-streaming, which is so easy these days, Rumble just uses the regular RTMP encoding scheme. So, you could just plop in the code just like you do for anything else, and you just simulcast. How hard is that? Or Rumble has a port from YouTube, or like mirror YouTube function in there, which I do use for my own YouTube channel, which I don't even upload my YouTube videos. It literally just auto-uploads them for me from YouTube. It is elite. So just to give a shout out to Rumble for doing such a great job. I can't wait to see how this platform explodes, because it's going to explode. I can't wait for Rumble to build something unique. That's kind of what I'm waiting for, is for them to sort of break out. They have to capture a lot of customers now, so they can't really do anything too risky right now, but hopefully they can sort of break out of the mold and do something interesting later. We'll see how good their team is. So yeah, and we'll be coming back to Rumble later and during the arguing with Reddit. And the last thing was, there's a plethora of movies that have gotten a lot of people excited, about movies, about going to the theater specifically, which I don't know where this is coming from, but like, I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna complain at all. I'm not sure, the particular cinema attraction of these movies are, but they're apparently good movies enough for people to want to go see them. So the movies are Mario, which is completely out of left field. I'm seeing people saying, oh yeah, I bought a row of tickets for me and my brother's families, to go see it together. I'm like, what is going on? What is this Mario movie? I need to go see it. So yeah, apparently it's just that relieving, I guess, from the trend of really bad children's movies. And the second movie that I'm seeing with a lot of buzz around it is a movie called, I think, Nefarious. Let me just make sure I got that right. Which is in the Exorcist series of films. Yes, Nefarious. And I did not know this film was coming out. And maybe I should do a Exorcist series. Wow, this has a very extreme tomato meter to audience score.
What's it like?
Tomato meter says 33%, right?
Oh, okay.
Audience says 97%.
Oh. Why do things like this happen?
A lot of times it's ideological. There's a huge cultural divide between at this point. It didn't used to be this way, but between film critics and the audience. So I will, but I'm not gonna. I don't. Hey, hype trains are a thing. People get excited about stupid stuff all the time. I'm not saying it is stupid. I'm also not saying it's not stupid. So I will reserve judgment for when I probably see this film later. I'll probably do an Exorcist run at some point. So I'm very interested to see what that's all about. The Exorcist, the original film, is a very classic film. So I am excited to go watch that. That's all I got for film news. Pretty much.
I actually would like to update what I said before.
Okay.
So today, Sega released like a small little thing. The CEO said, quote, "Dear all, the Wall Street Journal and some other media outlets have reported that Sega is nearing an agreement to acquire Rovio Entertainment, but this was not announced by our group. No formal decision has been made in this regard at this time. While it is true that we are considering such strategic option, this topic will be discussed by our board of directors today, April 17th, 2023, and we will announce in a timely manner when any decisions are made concerning the strategic option." So it's not confirmed yet, and I say today in asterisk because this is probably written in Japanese time, so I don't know like when that is. I don't know when today ends or starts. So yeah, actually, it might be the 18th in Japan. Japan's like way ahead of us, right?
Ahead or ahead.
Europe is ahead of us, so Japan should be more.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So and Europe is like could be like 5 to 7 hours ahead of us, right? So they must be like, it's definitely the 18th already. So they already discussed this. So I don't know what the decision was yet.
Interesting. A 99 Crime says, "I really want to see a Mario movie and Dungeons and Dragons." I forgot about Dungeons and Dragons, so thank you for reminding me. I have seen buzz about that as well. So I don't know what it is that's happening right now, but if people could put their butts in seats, I'm all for it. Because even though the current theater chains are not the greatest custodians of cinema, if they die before proper competition arises, then it's all over. So they need to stay alive at least for someone else to come around and actually do a good job with the theater experience. And that also reminds me that AMC reported an increase in profits last quarter. So things are looking up, I guess. It's really random.
Yep.
Okay. That's all I got for news.
Nice.
Sweet. If you have any other news that you noticed during the week, definitely drop a link in the chat and we'll take a look at it later if it's something interesting. And if you're unfamiliar with the show, right now we're going to transition over to our next segment.
I don't think we mentioned our weeks, did we?
Oh, no, we didn't. Sorry. How was your week?
I feel like I had something to say, which is why I said that, but I forgot what I had to say. I don't know. It was fine, I guess. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if I was going to say this, but I'm trying to get a graphics card that has like CUDA cores and AI cores, right, for AI development. The issue is there's only one out of the two manufacturers of GPUs, and technically three, I guess. Well, for desktop consumer GPUs, only one of them has those things, and the prices are insane. So I don't know what to do about the situation. So yeah, I've been trying to figure out what the play is. I'm also thinking I might have a more eccentric PC build because like, dude, I'm realizing like I feel like I really lucked out about when I bought my computer. And and like the things I got for the price, like I'm looking at motherboards that are of reasonable price, and it's like, dude, they have like like 4 USB ports in the back of them. Yeah. On my computer, I have like 8. Yeah. And I'm using most of them. So I like if I had 4, that'd be an actual issue. And only 2 of them are 3.0s on what I was looking at. So I'm so confused why I don't know. And for some reason they have those dumb PS2 ports, right? I have 2 of them, and I'm wondering who is this for? In 2023, you're making a new board. Who is like buying this and being like, oh dude, I love this PS2 port. I really have a keyboard from like the 1990s I'm using on this thing right now. I don't know, but
some people have trackballs that they use with a PS2 port or something like that.
Yeah,
like vintage trackball.
At this point, like you gotta be expected to get like a PS2 to USB adapter, right? Like,
maybe it's just not as good, man. I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, apparently they decided to put 2 PS2 ports instead of like at least 1 more.
Oh,
USB.
You know what? One thing with PS2 is I believe that PS2 is the only thing that guarantees that you can communicate with the BIOS. I believe without any drivers. I think that might be true.
Really?
With an interface. So I mean, almost every keyboard works with the BIOS with USB anyway. But like
yeah, I was not really
so it's not really an issue, but like I think if I remember from an IT guy telling me that random fact.
Okay. See. So if you really need, I don't know, you really cannot find a keyboard that works. The most basic feature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I might have to go with like a motherboard that has like no ports for some reason, and I can buy like a PCIe expansion card that is just ports essentially, which is kind of cool. But I'm also trying to because I don't want to just throw away my GPU is currently good. What I'm saying? Like it works fine, it runs the games I want to run. It's just like it doesn't have CUDA cores, right? That's that's kind of an issue. So I was thinking, I don't know if I really want to, but like I want to go very eccentric. I can go with a dual GPU setup. And then,
aren't those like zero efficient these days?
Well, okay, not for running multi GPU tasks. That one of them's AMD, and one of them's NVIDIA, so that's literally not going to work. But for dual GPU pass through, where I can use Windows and Linux pretty seamlessly at the same time, pretty much, or not at the same time, but I can switch back between them without restarting my entire computer, essentially, and everything stays open and things like this. So I did that with one GPU. But the issue is the biggest waste of time because one, you are not supposed to do that clearly, and so there's no easy like button or setting you flip and it just works, right? It's a whole bunch of editing files and stuff like that, and hoping you don't break anything. And once you get it, what happened to me was just some random update just broke it again. I was like, I'm not doing that again. So, and it's not even good because when you do one GPU, what I didn't think about was I'm on Linux on the host machine and I want to go to Windows. What happens is the GPU switches to using Linux, to rendering Windows stuff, and it means that anything that's windowed on Linux cannot run anymore, right? So everything closes anyways. So it says if you restarted your computer anyways, there's not really like a big reason to to do this. So the only thing is it's quicker than restarting, I guess. But that's pretty much it.
Cool. Yeah. We should definitely talk after the show about GPU because remember I have an extra one. I didn't know you needed it immediately.
Oh, I forgot about that actually.
Yeah, so we should talk about it offline. Yeah,
it's not immediate. I'm not trying to buy it like at this moment, but I'm just trying to look at what's there.
Okay, cool. Sweet. And for me, my week was, I guess it was fine. I'm trying to think of anything interesting that happened. Looking for a house. So that's been interesting. And if you want to know about why I'm looking about a house, literally our last episode, I used that as an example for a very good investment. The last episode was called How to Quit Your Job. So if you're interested in doing that, you can go check that out. But other than that, it's just kind of been work. Oh, and taxes. Doing my paperwork for taxes, which I don't have an accountant. So that is kind of irritating, to say the least. So hopefully next year I have an accountant. That's it. Nothing too fancy.
Nice.
Cool. Well, if you are unfamiliar with how the show works, we do these shows in segments. Usually we have three 3.5. This was our news segment. We have 3 big segments, but Ben's not here today, so we're going to be 2 segments. We're going to start with Arguing with Reddit, which is coming up right after the transition. And in Arguing with Reddit, we talk about some hot takes, and I'll be talking about something a little bit different this time. My hot take will be from YouTube, and we'll review a YouTube conversation that I had in the comments. I thought that'd be a funny thing to do.
Oh man, you had a YouTube conversation. That's like I think it's a mistake, but I mean, we'll see, I guess.
Yes, exactly. So stay tuned for that, and then afterwards, Nathan will be breaking down Noita. Is that how you say it?
I actually don't know. I say Noita. I don't know.
Noita?
It's not English. It's I don't know what language it is. I don't remember. Okay. It is in... Okay, I cannot find it quickly. I don't know. But it's not English.
Yes. Well, he'll be reviewing whatever that's called in the last segment of today's show, which will probably be in, 30 minutes or so. Arguing with Reddit tends to be a lot shorter, so... Yeah, so if you want to come back for that, that's totally fine. I'm not going to judge you, and we'll see you on the other side of that break, too. So let's go for Arguing with Reddit. And... Oh, hello.
Oh boy, things have happened.
Here we go.
Mixed Media Movies.
And welcome back to... I was going to say Arguing with Reddit. That's not the name of the podcast. Mixed Media Podcast. And if you have been with us live, thank you for joining us this long. It's been fun so far, and we'll continue our great conversations. Right now we have Arguing with Reddit, which is our show where we react to hot takes from pretty much anywhere on the net. Today I'm in the hot seat, as you can see. I don't know how to point to this. As you can see, I'm in the hot seat, and that means I'll be answering hot takes that Nathan found for me. He found 2 for me, and I found 1 for myself, which is a bit unique today, to react to live on the show. I haven't seen any of the ones Nathan has found for me, so usually that produces some fun results. So that's the show. But before we do that, let's reintroduce ourselves. So my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. I own a company called Ariella.
And I'm Nathan Nestor. I'm a video game developer and 3D modeler.
Sweet. And we do that because we split this show into segments in post for our podcast. Okay, first hot take. This one is from Nathan, if you want to explain. It's the one that says help.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to open, but the general idea was this person is in the marketing industry in Dubai, and she wants to know what steps she should take or she wants to become a director. That's her dream, and she wants to know what steps to take to get there. She can't study in film school right now. I'm not sure why. I don't think it says that. Yeah. And she wants to know where to start in expanding her community, involving herself with directors, and to learn from them practically. So a very specific type of things you like to do.
Yes, this is a very broad question, but I suppose a high-value question. I don't know about the intricacies of Dubai, so I can't really speak to that.
Ignore that.
Yeah, exactly. I know next to nothing about Dubai. But what I can say is, unless film schools in Dubai are elite and actually teach you practical skills, I would avoid the film degree. And that's my personal opinion. A lot of people would disagree with me, but the one thing that you shouldn't expect is that film degree itself to get you in places. It does not get you in places. Meaning, if you want to PA on a set, or if you're lucky enough, you can land a second AC job if you're learning how to handle the camera or whatever it is. To start out with practical experience, they're not going to care that your degree was in film. They're not going to be like, wow, a film major, that must mean they already know what we're doing on set. No, they're going to still treat you like an idiot, and they literally don't care because to them, you're just a warm body that they don't have to pay if you're an unpaid intern, effectively, right? So in that sense, I would not go to film school if that's what you're expecting. If you're going to film school to learn film theory, in the United States at least, don't come here for that. That's for sure. Our film theory here in the United States is all just complete useless garbage. So don't waste your money on that.
Maybe
I
it's
don't
good
know
in
how it is
Dubai.
in Dubai, but
Yeah.
maybe it's cool. But the best education that you probably can get on the film theory side is literally just watching tons of movies with a very critical and appreciative eye, meaning try to like stuff that you don't like, and or that you wouldn't think that you would like, right? So try to like everything, especially things that are in the film canon, so to speak. Doesn't mean you'll end up liking them, but try to like them all. Try to see the good in everything that you watch. And then whenever you can't see the good in something, figure out why it is that you feel there's something bad about it, and then start to abstract things to higher principles, which to me that's what film theory should be about, is about how things connect to higher artistic principles and then the higher principles of life. But usually they're more concerned with, I don't even know, it's just I've taken film theory classes at a college level. It's it's interesting. That's for sure. So that would be my advice on the school portion of things. On the practical portion of things, you need to have the ability to practice on your own, which is going to mean that you need access to money. Which means, in turn, that if you're going to go to school for something, that you should go to school for something probably that can make you money, right? Something that you enjoy, though. It looks like you're in marketing. You said you're in the marketing field. That can make you money. That can make you tons of money. I'm in the marketing field right now too, partly with my business. So if that's working out well for you, keep making money, buy a camera, buy a lens, do those with intention, learn about what you're buying, why you're buying it, and all that kind of stuff. And then you're going to have to go and shoot things, whether it's marketing videos. Those are still going to be educational for you in terms of learning. I mean, you might not be interested in camera specifically. I mean, I know you said you want to be a director, but camera is obviously extraordinarily important if you're a filmmaker. I mean, if you don't have a camera, you don't have a film. So I suggest that you still get behind a camera somehow. Learn to tell little stories. If you're a writer director, writing is free. I mean, the minimum, you have a pen and paper, right? So definitely pick up that pen and paper and do something with it. Learn some writing theory too. Read some books if you have to. But this is all self-driven, right? Is what I'm saying is probably the best way to go these days, because there's not really value in a lot of places where you would spend money on trying to get this stuff. If you are bad at being self-motivated and you absolutely will not move forward in your career without some compulsion, it's pretty expensive compulsion. I mean,
we should do a episode on motivation, because that's like a thing that's relevant to all arts.
That is a good one. That is a very good one. I like that.
A very common downfall.
Yes. It's a daily struggle, frankly.
It is, unfortunately. Which is weird, because you kind of want to do it, but at the same time, it's like, not today, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the specific goal I think she mentioned of essentially networking? I think that's what she said.
Yeah, networking is good. I mean, networking can be the make or break, if that's the way you want to make it. But you have to figure out how to get into the rooms with people, and if you are serious about that prospect, you need to be extremely bold. like you can't just be passive and say, I'm going to meet this person speaking at this film festival, and maybe I'll catch them after their talk. That's a very inefficient way to talk to people, frankly. Because, I mean, how many times is that going to actually materialize? Instead,
it's also expensive to go to a lot of these events.
Right, exactly. Instead, let's just take the film festival example as an example, right? Let's say that winning is not, let's assume winning the film festival is not guaranteed, and so it's not anything meritorious in a direct sense that's going to get you to talk to that person. Instead, I would figure out something, I would know my target very well, know how I can get their attention, and exploit it. So if they really respond well to really brash people, right? Like people who are bombastic or whatever, you may not be that, but you might want to be that in the moment. And like in the middle of them talking, I'm not recommending this specifically. This is a random example, but in the middle of them talking, just interrupt them or something. Like just stand up and be like, "That's a terrible thing to say." Blah blah blah. I don't know. That's just a really random example. Or if you know that they like a very specific thing, maybe wear a shirt with that thing on it. I don't know. But for me, I'm thinking about pitching a few things, and there are a few target investors that come to mind in pitching those things. I know exactly where to find them. I know exactly how to talk to them, and I know exactly what I need to do once they talk to me. And if you don't have that yet for whoever you're trying to network with, do that. If you're going to sort of shotgun and say, I'm going to network with people in general, that's also really inefficient, unless they're peers who will help you with stuff, right? I mean, that's a different thing. Then go crazy. Go find all the people that you will work well with, because those are worthwhile relationships, because we have a collaborative art form, and it's very hard to find people to work with, generally speaking. So if that's what you're talking about, then, go to everything, talk to everyone. Obviously, online is the easiest thing to do. So, yeah. That's pretty much what I got about that. Make money. Avoid spending money. Go crazy. What? Are you reacting to that?
Sorry. If you look up, I'm gonna say Noita. That sounds right. If you look up Noita, we're like the fifth thing that comes up on YouTube.
On YouTube? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's kind of random, but
let me pull up the Rumble chat. Not the Rumble chat. The general chat on here. I just realized I don't have it up. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Next hot take. So this one is going to be my YouTube conversation, and we're going to dive into the comments. Yes. So this is from a YouTube channel called vidIQ. If you're a YouTuber, you at least know of them, almost certainly, even if you don't subscribe to them. I subscribe to them because I find their YouTube update videos to be quite efficient. They usually give me all the updates in like 3 to 5 minutes. I really appreciate that. And I kind of started to ignore anything else that they put out. Not anything personal, but I don't do algorithmic, for my personal stuff especially, I don't do algorithmic content. I do marketing in a different way. So yeah, but let me see if I have a good format to pull this up. Oh, that actually works. That works good enough. That's good enough.
Nice.
Sweet. Okay, so we're gonna go. Oh, maybe the right side is cut off. Dang it. Is this one any better? No, it's not.
Boy.
Let's see here. I might have to cover the chat, actually. Sorry about that. No, that's too small. Okay, fine. What we're gonna do then is we will edit this one, and I'll edit as I explain. So basically, vidIQ put out a community post, which was asking, are YouTube's monetization requirements fair, right? And I answered the poll like kind of casually. I said no, but I had a very specific like thought like it wasn't a thought process. It was just like an immediate no, because I think about YouTube all the time. I think about how their business model works because I create my own business models, etc., etc. And I already know that on the creator end of things, YouTube is not fair. So the answer is no. But when I clicked on it, and I can't click on it now because this is the editor's browser and there's no one logged in, so I can't click on it now. But it was like 70-30 yes to no, and I was so confused. I was like, wait, wait. You're saying that 70% of people who are trying, because this is the audience of this channel, right? 70% of people who are trying to be YouTubers think that it's fair. And I was absolutely, my mind was blown. So I had to go into the comments and see what the heck people were saying.
What are the requirements?
It's so monetization, the monetization program is what gets you paid out of AdSense, right?
Right.
And it's 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. The one that's considered oppressive is the 4,000 watch hours, but I'm going to talk about why it has nothing to do with the specific requirements. It has to do with the idea of having to apply for monetization at all. That is my objection. So, but I want to go through this mind-boggling. I wanted to tear my hair out, and it's gonna be a little bit ranty, almost certainly, because I was so angry while reading these responses. I was like, if you go through these responses, they all sound like you're 9 years old, guys. This is scary, and maybe some of you literally are. But like, if you think that YouTube has your best interests in mind, I don't know where to even begin. I mean, you just have to look at the fact that they're like a multinational, gigantic conglomerate that's completely unfeeling, has no ability to feel because it's too large. You know? But anyway,
10 million short views in 90 days is one way to do it. So
yes. That's also basically
crazy.
Impossible.
So you need like insane virality, or you don't get monetization for shorts, I guess.
Yes. Okay.
Do you get money on shorts at all? Is that a thing? There's no ads on shorts, right?
There are. Now there are ads in between shorts.
Oh, interesting. Oh, like Instagram Reels, or whatever. It's just everything just comes more like the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Nothing terribly unique. Okay, so here's where the conversation starts, and you'll see who I am because it's my name, Irving Nestor. So there you go. But I
don't see it.
You'll see it in a moment.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be there already. Okay. Gotcha.
So the original comment is by @kidsart, who says, "In a way, I feel it's unfair because it's just too hard to reach those requirements. But then again, if they were too easy, everyone would be monetized, and it's not like a challenge." You want to believe that kind of reasoning, right? The second half of that reasoning is uncommon. That's basically what everyone's saying. It wouldn't be a challenge. Why is the onus on you to meet a challenge? Can someone answer this question? What is the purpose of being challenged? Like, everyone's just like a bunch of NPCs. They're like this is good because we get challenged. Why do you have to prove anything to them? So we're gonna go through it. And what I'm gonna say makes 100%. This is not like emotional bullshit, right? Or excuse my language. This is 100% logical, right? So we're gonna go through this. Okay. So I think it's quite fair, and you need to earn the money by working hard because you can't earn money for free. Don't worry, we can do it. When you make a YouTube video, I guess there's like no expense to your time, no expense to your literal wallet or anything. Apparently it's just for free. It's just for free. You can't just make money for free for uploading. Okay, anyway, we're gonna go through this. So I replied at Irving Nestor right here. Why can't everyone be monetized? Simple question. Why can't everyone just automatically be monetized? And we're going to talk about Rumble later and how Rumble does it in a moment. But I got this response. 99 Crime says, these may be botted, TBH. If I was talking to bots this whole time, these are pretty interesting and might be sad. Some sad bots. No, but these I clicked on some of these people. They have YouTube channels that are like functional, like, you know, that they're posting all the time. So yeah, these are real people, unfortunately. So D Gamer, whatever, says because then it would be too easy, and you can earn money with little to no effort while getting subscribers and watch time. Requires hard work and effort, but you get subscribers and watch time already. Like I don't understand this reasoning. Like, you already, as you upload, you are getting watch time before you were even monetized. It's not for free. like you are getting them. You're earning them, right? Anyway, some creators who do meet the requirements take 2 or 3 months to get enough money to finally receive their check. Pulling in 15 cents a month with 30 subscribers just isn't worth it for YouTube. They need to see that your content has the potential to actually rake in the cash. Let me just go through my responses before I go crazy. So I said, but it's all just ratios. If I pull a little views, then I make a little money. They take a cut, not pay me a salary. If what you are saying was even true, they'd have a minimum, a money minimum to withdraw. Like, almost every platform, I mean, literally every platform does, and not an arbitrary watch time / sub requirement. So what I'm saying is, there's no risk on YouTube side when I post a video. If it make,
you get paid like 1 cent if one person watches. You don't even get paid 1 cent if one person watches it. You get paid like I don't know, like an atom.
Right. It's all proportional, right? They're not guaranteeing me any money every month. Therefore, if I make little views, if I earn little views, little watch time, then I earn little money. It's all a slice of what YouTube makes. So there's no risk on YouTube side. If it's about not wanting to fund the money, well, I think I get into that. So I say, responding to DGamer5000, why do you need to prove anything to YouTube if they put an ad on my vid anyway? The money talks on its own, and we just share a fixed ratio of it. Pretty simple logic, right? If I make more money because I'm able to, with one video, rake in 1 million views and, like crazy watch time or whatever, my video already spoke. It already makes money. Like there's no reason to have an extra step for me to not make money on that video until I get an arbitrary 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. It is literally arbitrary. Okay. So, D-Gamer says, I don't know whether or not I'm fully understanding you, but the minimum to receive your check is $100 a month. Okay, I didn't know that, but that's cool. If you're unlikely to be able to make $100 a month, then you shouldn't get monetized, which is what requirements and monetizations are. Oh, then you don't get monetized. And that's what the requirements are for. If I misunderstood you, okay. Yeah, you did misunderstand me, but also, like, that's not how it works. It's 4,000 subscribers, 1,000 watch hours. There's no likeliness to $100 calculated in there. There is zero, because guess what? If one video gets you 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers, because you could do that theoretically with one viral video, right? You won't make a single penny off of that until the next month, at which point likely the virality is already gone, right? Like, you're going to be trickling views after that. You will make not a single penny of what might be $1,000 of income or something like that. You might not make you will literally make none of it because they won't count it because you were not monetized yet. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't retroactively do anything.
No, they don't. They don't give you your money back, or they don't honor the prior performance that you had. They don't retroactively do that at all. Okay, so then Arbathor says, they aren't gonna give you money without trying. That's what life is. Imagine being a slave of such a large corporation, to the point where you say something like this, where you literally put your blood, sweat, and tears into something. The platform takes it and makes money off of it and doesn't give you a slight slice because you're not working hard? This is not how any business relationship works, people. If you think this is how business relationships work, you're insane. Let's say I get a marketing contract, but instead of getting paid a retainer, I get paid a percent, right? To market on behalf of, let's say, the local grocery store, right? And the way we worked out the deal, it's a percent of the royalty off of every sale that they have, right? So I make some cut of it, right? If I go and I put in effort, right, and I don't return them anything, guess who took on the risk? Me, because I'm the only one who put up stuff to get a return. The grocery store didn't pay any money out of their pocket to retain me under a royalty deal. Does that make sense? So they have no risk in that deal. I, as the creator, have all the risk because if my thing doesn't do well, my time and my money is down the drain. Right?
The thing I was going to say is there is some risk for them, but the thing is no one pointed it out, and that's my initial thought of why there would be a minimum or whatever. Mm-hmm. Is that every new video from let's consider anybody who's not eligible for monetization is kind of an unknown figure, relatively speaking, right? Mm-hmm. And because of this, the content of their video has not been vetted to the same extent as like other videos, right? So like they could be breaking like I don't know what do you call it, the YouTube guidelines, whatever, YouTube rules, whatever it's called. But the thing is, there are not been enough people who have seen it to like guarantee a certain percentage that likelihood that it'll be have been reported or whatever, right? So like if it's like a video with like one view or whatever, right? And YouTube might not want to pay them the atom because they aren't confident that it's like a chill YouTube channel that isn't like I don't know something bad or whatever. But no one ever said anything about that, so I don't know.
Well, no, I mean I already knew that. Like that already came to mind, already. But the problem is they have an arbitrary minimum. They should just allow you to apply. And if they need a minimum number of videos for you to do that, then they just say you should have 5 videos, regardless of performance, so that we know what your channel is like.
The thing is, you could post 5 wholesome videos, get approval, and then start posting whatever.
Yeah, but you could do that already.
Yes, we won't get paid. You get what I'm saying?
No. Wait, what?
Huh? Wait, what do you mean? You could.
How would you not get paid?
I'm saying if you wanted to, like, okay, you can get paid, but you have to go through a whole bunch of like getting to whatever the requirement is, which is apparently not insignificant. First, and you probably don't want to like throw. It's like imagine you're making like a bunch of like spam accounts, right? Mm-hmm. You're like maybe you're a scammer, and you're making a bunch of spam YouTube accounts that post some scam thing, and they get banned, right? Like because like they're just like scams every once in a while. So if you put all the effort into getting a channel up to whatever the requirement is, which I don't actually know what it is, but seems to be somewhat high and hard to do, then you're going to be a lot less likely to try to pull off such a scam. You'll still do it.
I have so many responses.
We won't make
to this,
money.
though.
You won't make money off of it, I guess.
There's so many responses to this. Like the first one is that this is solvable by paying money. Like this is solvable by making it cost me $50 to open an account, or creator account specifically, right? True. That's way more just. I mean that accounts. You just make me pay for whatever minimal risk there is. Quantify it. Maybe add something for profit. I don't care. And then do that instead, right? Instead of stealing money off of videos that might go viral, right? That's literally what's happening, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is that this risk is already taken care of, supposedly, by their algorithmic censorship, right? They don't even have humans. But the thing is, they're willing to create casualties out of their regular YouTube users, their regular content creators. They're willing to let them catch bodies, right? On behalf of their algorithmic censorship, but then they can't tell whether something is bot created or not. I'm not saying that technologically it's easy, but that's the promise, right? Is that you take the risk of your account at any given point with no recourse, no guaranteed recourse, I should say, right? The method of recourse is never guaranteed on YouTube. And you could get destroyed any other day, but they're saying, well, we created a platform that was usable because of, XYZ, reasons. But the thing is, they don't even do that then, if that's the concern, right? And so on and so forth. But my whole point is that typically when my business relationship is with another party is I take on the risk and they take on none. I get paid whenever they get paid. Because that literally makes complete sense. I've never seen a contract that is otherwise, that you have to meet some minimum without there being excessive risk or something that causes that to happen. That's insane. Okay. So this person says, oh no, my camera died. Why is it? It's been dying way faster than usual lately, and that's kind of annoying. But I'll finish up my arguing with Reddit segment, then I'll be back on video. But it says you'll get money. YouTube is a job. Okay, let's stop right there. Again, with this language, YouTube is tricking all of you into this dumb language. It's not a job because you don't get paid a salary. If you got paid a salary, then this would make complete sense now. You understand? Like if you were guaranteed a monthly payment, then at that point, YouTube is taking a risk. At that point, there is no minimum. The minimum would be completely reasonable because they would vet you as an employee effectively, or a contractor, however you want to look at it. This is crazy. This is so sad, people. This is making me really sad for humanity right here. I'm sorry. Let's see. So then I say my channel's doing pretty well because they were saying that I try to get something for free. My channel will hit the minimums. You know, I'm on track to hit the minimums. That's not the problem. My own personal YouTube channel. And I said, I personally know I can meet the targets with enough work. It's all about business principles. In business, in almost all cases, you expect to share revenues if there are any mutual benefit. In this case, YouTube makes money by putting ads on your videos, which they're doing regardless of whether you're monetized or not. They're still making money off of it, even though they're saying you're risky. They're going to put ads on it anyway. Which they do regardless of whether you're... Okay. The revenue you generated with your content, no matter how quality your channel is, would not exist without you. The diversity of content would not exist without you. User engagement would not exist without you. So they're actually, it's not even just the ad that they put on your video. Having more diverse content on the platform raises the whole platform. And they don't even pay you that when you're monetized. They don't even share any of that when you're monetized. There's no universal revenue share, which you would expect on a platform type thing like YouTube. That's how sports franchises work, right? Because it's a singular sports franchise adds more to the whole than just its revenue. You understand what I'm saying? Like the whole league becomes better because there are more teams and they're more geographically diverse. You understand? That's how business works.
Yeah.
This is how business relationships work, blah blah blah. And then I told the person I missed a point, and then I said, no matter what the minimum is, if I make 10 cents off a video, give me my slice of that 10 cents every single time. If there's some minimum to bill me because it's costly to bill someone, you know what I mean? It becomes untenable. Then go ahead and let me reach the minimum, and then however long it takes, just keep track of how much money I made. And then all you do is, if it takes 10 years to make $100, you pay me the $100 out in 10 years. So, in fact, that's actually better for YouTube, right? Because of inflation. They actually would benefit from doing that. This makes no sense. This makes no sense, people. And then it's funny because they keep talking about how people don't want to put in the work. When my whole point is not about how much work you put in. It's literally just the principle of the contract they're essentially inducing with you. Now, to finish off this whole rant, Rumble does not even work this way because no platform but YouTube works this way. That's the other point, right? When we're talking about
we were talking about like an initial fee or whatever. That's what Steam does, and actually literally every other game publishing platform. I'm not sure what itch.io does actually. I don't think I put a game on there before. There is no review process or whatever. That being said, I was able to set up even the donation page, so I think you can just make money straight out the gate. There is no requirement for anything. But yeah, Steam and stuff like that, Xbox, PlayStation, you have to pay a one-time fee and then you're done.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, so if you go on Rumble right now and you want to make a monetized video, guess how they do it? Because it literally takes 2 brain cells to figure out how to do this while being able to reward people for their work immediately. They review every video individually for monetization. For the content, not the performance.
Wait, what do you mean? Every video?
Every video. I mean, it's a bot, right? Obviously.
Oh, they're talking about people. I was like, what?
No. If a bot flags it, it goes to human review, right? That's pretty much it.
Gotcha.
But they do it for every video. So, if I post a video, they don't care how much performance they're gonna get out of it. They just care if they can monetize it at all, which is literally logical from a business perspective. So once I'm monetized, which usually happens at this point, I think it's been happening faster. I'm not sure if it's because of previous monetizations, it's like more lenient or something like that, or if it's because they've just gotten faster with it over time. But the way it works is I get monetized within like, I don't know, like 4 hours of the show dropping, basically, and our show is like 2 hours, 3 hours long. You know,
I'm curious. Do they retroactively monetize them, like views
no,
that you get?
no, and that's one of my problems. But guess what? They also don't put ads on it when it's not monetized.
Oh, that works out.
So I can't even blame them because they're not making money off of the views that I generated. It's literally just a cost for them. This makes complete sense, people. This is literally a logical business relationship. And the reason why Rumble works this way is not because they're competing with YouTube directly, it's because it used to be a copyright agency. That's why it works this way. You used to upload to Rumble so that your stuff could get auto-syndicated, basically. They would sell your video out to different news sources or other sources or whatever. And the natural business relationship is always to just give you a slice. So that's how it works from the start on Rumble. Because that's the natural business relationship. There's no performance minimums. They just want to make any money off of your video, and they'll give you a slice for helping them do that.
I've come up with a rebuttal. So on YouTube and Rumble, I guess it is free to post entirely, and when you don't have a certain amount of, say, watch hours or subscribers, you are almost certainly losing YouTube like considerable amounts of money or something like that. I don't actually know what that point is, but let's assume that for the sake of my argument that is YouTube has figured that they start actually making YouTube money at that point where monetization is allowed or something around that. So perhaps that's why it is because you just.
And I've thought of that as well. You know, and my problem with that reasoning is that YouTube decided to create a completely open platform and is saying that it has to tax me not on revenue but on performance, which has no connection to revenue. What they're doing is they're saying you need to meet a performance minimum because of revenue issues. Well,
right.
So you could still just tax my revenue for that expenditure, right? You could still just say, here's money, but we have to take more percent in order to pay for everyone's cat videos that they're uploading for free on YouTube.
But those cat videos might literally be like, we need to take like over 100%, to actually like,
Then that's their problem because their
lost.
business model sucks, right? Like, I didn't choose, when I started uploading onto YouTube, I didn't choose for them to create an open platform where people can literally upload unlimitedly. They think that that's a better business decision. I actually don't. If they made, like I said, the solution would be to make creators pay something up front, maybe even recurring, right? Like, I would accept a $20 a month YouTube creation fee. That's what, like Netflix and a half? Like, that's nothing, right? If you're a creator and you actually want to do it seriously. I mean, even if you want to do it for fun, that's honestly not that much either, right? $20 a month. I would pay that to pay for my right to use the space that I use on YouTube. You understand what I mean? But so they chose the business model that induces people to upload hours of useless content onto the platform, and they refuse to back down from it. That's their problem. That's not my problem. So, I think Rumble has the same issue in effect, but the difference is that I guess they're kind of hopiuming their way that they'll shift business models later. I'm a little skeptical of that part of the whole thing, but they have a lot of debt to run through, so we'll see how they change things as time goes on. But in my opinion, I think it's always a problem when you divorce the resource user from the cost. It's always a disaster. So bring the cost as close as you can without losing a significant amount of customers to the user of the resource. Don't nickel and dime people with like, oh, you clicked here and like blah blah, but major resource use is happening for uploading a video. Maybe you have something that's like over half an hour, blah blah blah, or like this many a month or whatever. If you think that reduces the value of your social media platform, that's on you. If it's not a viable business idea, then it's not viable. You've induced me to join your platform, which was a sinking ship. I took that risk on myself too, when I came onto your platform. So anyway, that's that's my rant on that. And by the way, no other platform does this. Let me think. Well, except for Twitch. Twitch is the only other platform I can think that has performance minimums. But any other platform that pays you for stuff you do, they just pay you immediately. So,
assuming you pass some amount, oftentimes, but yeah, in terms of how much you make.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a minimum withdrawal.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Roblox is kind of gross with that. So
Precisely. So that's my answer to this one. Well, by the way, I want to say one more thing. You can see that this YouTube conversation, even though these were a bunch of idiots, wasn't actually that unproductive, generally speaking. They didn't end in like screaming at each other or something like that. And my experience of YouTube comments is pretty different from most people's. I actually have like really good conversations most of the time which is I don't comment that often, I suppose, but like, I feel like I comment like once or twice a quarter. And when I do, I guess I selectively engage with people. So I guess the engagements that I choose, they tend to be decent conversations, even though these people were idiots. So that's okay. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my PSA out of this whole conversation is please respect yourself better than to be fooled by the rhetoric of you as a creator need to show your worth to someone who is literally extracting money from you, like as you upload. Please respect yourself better than that. Okay. Yeah. And speaking of motivation too, the motivation for, I saw some people saying, well, you wouldn't be motivated. The motivation for not making money is not making money. At least that's what it is to me.
Yeah. So, like, who's getting motivated by like, dude, I'm making 1 cent per video. Like, wow, I'm very like, yeah. The motivation is to make more than that, presumably,
Exactly. I don't know. I'm terrified for the youth who are trying to be entrepreneurs. It's absolutely terrifying. It's really scary. But that means if you are a youth and you have a good head on your shoulders, you have very little competition. Little sane competition. Okay, so here's the next one, and this is one that Nathan found for me again. So I don't know what it is. So Nathan, if you want to explain.
Sure. By the way, both of these that I've chosen are from r/directors, which is a smaller community, but it's a lot easier to find like discussion posts than like r/movies, for example, or at least things that have like hot takes that are interesting or interesting questions. But anyways, the question is quite simple. The title is how and when do you start thinking about the film score? And it's a dichotomy is given. It's either when writing the script and setting rhythmic moments and scenes without any visuals whatsoever, or after cutting the film without any guarantee that you have rhythmic moments that a musician can use to score. Although I guess it'd be composer, not musician necessarily, but yeah, I guess close enough.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get my camera back online. It might have actually been an overheating issue because it's able to.
I guess some water-cooled camera going on.
Yeah, this is
slap a water block on it.
It's happening like randomly recently. It's very annoying. Okay, here I'm back. Okay. Yeah, so film score. I wish Ben was here for this because one, I've worked with Ben literally on a film score before for my first short film, and Ben is an amazing composer. Definitely added an unspeakable amount to the film. So yeah, if anyone wants to get anything scored, you can hit us up on mixedmediapodcast@outlook.com and I'll connect you to Ben. But since he's not here, I'll give my opinion, which I know already really vibes with his opinion. Pretty much the same opinion, I'm pretty sure. Which is that your composer should be involved as early as humanly possible. If you're an indie filmmaker, this is immediately. Usually. And the reason why is because you can get away with not paying your composer like for every 2 minutes the composer is talking to you. If you're in the industry, like the moment you you want an email exchange, they're gonna bill you, you know what I mean? Like they're billing you for every single possible moment. But if you're an indie filmmaker, you have an opportunity to work with someone who's really great and who's also an indie composer, and you can link up and you can work together immediately. What are the advantages? It's cohesion, honestly. Like the biggest issue with music in movies that don't work this way, which unfortunately in Hollywood these days, they really, really don't respect music anymore. on all levels. They pay the musicians horribly. The conditions are really bad. The composers are being treated poorly nowadays. The last well-treated composers are like John Williams and Hans Zimmer. The rest of them, even the great ones who are still alive, basically they're just getting, pooed all over. And so it's a sad time in Hollywood for music. But the problem with the way that they do things, where they do music literally as last minute as humanly possible, which is the way it works now, is cohesion. So if you are a director like me, and I think more directors are on my scale of things than on the other scale. The other side of the scale being like a Terrence Malick type director who basically goes in with like somewhat of an idea of the story, some scripted scenes, but like everything's kind of like improv to some extent. I thought I'd be that kind of director, but I'm actually on the complete other side, in actually doing things. I like having every single thing planned out, leave only room for improvisation, for particularly acting, for the way that I like to direct. I like a little bit of improvisation in how the moment lives on in the performances of the actors. But other than that, if it's camera, if it's set or whatever, like I love to have everything planned down to a T, because my filmmaking style is very layered. I like to build in as many layers of meaning into the stuff that I make, and that's hard to do improvisationally. Because even though Terrence Malick does it, by the way, so shout out to the goat, or one of the goats. But my point here is that it's hard to imbue meaning, an additional symbolism, meaning, or however you want to put it, into your scenes through the music if you don't have any idea what the music sounds like. Or you have no idea what the theme is if you have like a thematic, sort of a way of doing the music for your particular piece. If you have a theme, you have no idea how that theme is going to affect the mood, right? So I would suggest the way that Ben did it with me when we worked together is, you don't record the music beforehand. There are great DAWs out there that allow you to sort of play back MIDI notes, right? Which is cheap, because you don't have to hire anyone to play anything for you. So what you do is you compose it, then you put it in your DAW, and then you have it play back with some cheap or $0, sound library for the different instruments, if it's an instrumental score. And that will give you a good idea of some of the mood that's coming through with the music, and you can sort of tweak and refine that now instead of later, because those ideas will come to you later when you hear the music and be like, man, I would love an organ. But there's no way you're going to get an organ in here, like, like last minute. Or like, you're like, man, like, this theme is almost perfect, but like, there's something about the way this character says that one line that sounds like a bird. And I would love these flutes to be in there that sound like birds, or whatever the heck it is. But the problem with that is that the composer does not have the time to compose bird-like flute patterns in there anymore, and either it's going to come out really terrible, or it's just not going to happen, right? That's what happens today. So instead of doing it that way, I would definitely work with a composer, get some ideas about sound, about instrumentation, about themes and stuff like this. What scenes will and will not have music? Definitely decide that, or maybe not whole scenes, but moments and whatnot. Will and will not have music, and your whole piece will be way more cohesive for it. And I'm sure Ben would have given a way more in-depth answer than that. But I know from his perspective, that is definitely preferable. If you strike Hollywood, I don't know why you're watching the show, but if you're in Hollywood right now and you need a composer, I still would recommend it, because you spend so little money as proportion of your budget to one of the most important line items currently, that you can afford to take away from some of those other line items to get that music better. I know the breakdown already. I've looked at the pie charts. Music is like, I have to look it up again, but it's a small sliver at this point. Maybe less than 10% of the overall budget, right? Even though it's contributing like to your overall, output, it's contributing like, I don't know, like, it depends on the piece, but upwards of like 40%, right, of the overall effect of the film, which is saying a lot. So I would take money out of other things and put it there because I'd rather work with my composer earlier rather than later. Oh, and last thought is you can use the music generated from the samples that your composer puts together for you in the editing room as your temp track, which is so valuable because now your sense of pace is correctly timed with the idea of the music, right? So you can sort of edit to the music. The music will change, so you don't have to strictly edit to the music, but you chop up the music essentially to sort of simulate how the music will change or to get an idea of it. And then when it comes to actually write the custom pieces for the scenes, they'll be perfect. They'll be absolutely perfect. And that process worked for me. So that's what I would recommend. But great question. Glad that you're thinking about it.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Sweet. So that's Arguing with Reddit. If you're new to the podcast, which I'm sure many of you are, that's what we do every week. If you want to contribute your own hot takes, next week will be music if Ben is feeling better. And if you have any music hot takes, anything about composing or music in general, or if you want us to review in the future podcast stuff from film or gaming or whatever you want, art related, definitely check out our Discord. Link is in the description. And you can drop your hot takes there. We're like practically guaranteed to respond to them. So we would love to see it. And that's it for me for Arguing with Reddit. So shall we go on to the next segment?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Sweet. So next will be Nathan reviewing an indie game. So if you're here for that, let's start that. Switch this over. And here we go.
Mixed Media Gaming.
Welcome to this gaming segment of the Mixed Media Podcast. If you're watching live, well, it's been here, of course. If you're not watching live, just so you know, we record these in one long thing, in multiple different sections. So this is the gaming section. So yeah, welcome. I'll be reviewing a game called, well, I don't really know what it's called, either Noita or Noita or whatever. I've been calling it Noita in my head this entire time, but like it never occurred to me that might just be wrong. I looked it up before the segment started, and apparently it's a Finnish game, so I don't know how that's pronounced in Finnish. Apparently the name refers to mythical, well, at least the game is themed around mythical creatures of Finnish origin, so I don't know, maybe it's something to do with that. But I'm going to call it Noita. I think that sounds like better than Noita. I think that sounds like more like something that would actually be a word. So, Noita. That's what I'll call it. So, before we get into it, we should introduce ourselves. So, my name is Nathan Nestor. I'm a video game developer and 3D modeler.
Yes, and my name is Irving Nestor. I'm a filmmaker and media entrepreneur. I own a company called Ariella, based out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania.
Right, and usually we have a third, Ben Costello, who is our music guy, but unfortunately he's feeling sick, so he's not here today. All right, well, yeah, let's get into it. Well, have you heard of this game, by the way?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
is it not an indie game?
It is, but the developer has made another prominent game called Baba Is You.
I've heard of that.
Okay, yeah. So they were behind that. Noita. It's gonna be take me a moment to say it. Noita, but Noita has had more success than Baba Is You. But I believe Baba Is You came out earlier and as part of some game jam, I think originally, and sprouted into something that was quite successful. So the developer is called Nolla Games, based in Finland. And by the way, I'm going to do this review a bit differently this time. So typically I write down pretty detailed notes about what I'm going to say and stuff like that. But sometimes I get kind of like tongue-tied over saying things because I start going off script and then I try to get back on. I'm like, oh, I don't know where I am. Or like I already said this thing already and I wasn't supposed to. So now I have very general, broad notes. So hopefully this ends up being more fluid and sounding less robotic and stuff like that. So yeah, just so you guys know, in case it ends up really poorly. So yeah, so the game came out in 2020, so it's like it's not new, but it's not old either. I guess it's relatively new in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, it had pretty good success. It has very positive reviews on Steam recently, and overwhelmingly positive in its all-time reviews. It currently sits with a total of about 50,000 reviews, so quite popular game. So a little bit of so what actually is this game? So I'm gonna read the description of the game from Steam. It says, Noita is a magical action roguelite set in a world where every pixel is physically simulated. Fight, explore, melt, burn, freeze, and evaporate your way through the procedurally generated world using spells you created yourself. Now, I did not use the word roguelike or light. That wasn't me. That was the Noita devs.
Yeah, it's a controversial term. I forgot.
Yeah, Kakaro's pointed that out in Discord before. So that's not me. That's not me saying that. That's just the developers, how they want to express it. And I feel like I forget we came up with a term that wasn't that would describe this. I forget what it was. Because I wouldn't consider this that similar to Rogue, so fair enough. But I did use the term roguelite instead of like, so I guess there's some merit in that. Yeah. Now I did oh hey Post has arrived right in time for the gaming segment.
Yeah.
I did post in Stream Media channel a video of the game, so if you can pull that up, that'd be nice.
Okay, yeah.
Talk about it. So yeah, it's a little bit hard to explain, but the big super the hook, the elevator pitch thing is like, dude, every pixel of the game is simulated. And what does that mean? Well, it's kind of a not a low resolution game, but it's not like I wouldn't consider it like a retro game in terms of its resolution, but it's not like it's not intent. It's okay. It technically is in 1080p. You could run it in 1080p, but it's pixelated, I guess, like pixel art in a way. Except oftentimes in modern pixel art, what you'll notice is like characters. Let's say a character is walking, right? The character isn't confined to being on pixel increments. Does that make sense?
Oh, I think I get what you're saying now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Unlike in retro games where literally that is just the resolution, right? So there is no in between, right?
Yeah.
In Noita, it takes each one of those pixels and it actually simulates them properly, so there is no in between, right? And everything is physically simulated, so you might destroy a piece of something and it kind of falls, right? Or you can burn everything. You burn certain items and stuff like that. Things like this, and so everything is simulated in that sense. Now, what you're watching kind of includes spoilers, so maybe you should look away. Kind of, I don't know. It's a full run of the game, which is.
Should I remove it then, or
I would skip. Okay. I would skip a little bit.
I don't know where to skip to.
just like say like 10 minutes in or something like that.
Okay.
And also, audio isn't required if that's happening.
No, I turned the audio off. Oh,
okay. Advertisement. Let's go.
Yeah.
Post says this game is balls hard and unforgiving as hell. Yes, it is very unforgiving. In fact, kind of rude, kind of brutal randomly. So the general gameplay loop is you're in a cave. It's a side-scrolling type game, and you're fighting these little monsters that are apparently inspired by mythical Finnish creatures. And you're exploring, you're fighting them, and you're gaining. You use spells. So when you start with 2 wands. Each one is somewhat randomly generated within a certain confines. You won't get anything like an OP spell to start with, for example, right? Or something that absolutely sucks. But you'll have a few options of what you might start with, and the way spells are built is interesting. So there are 2 components to your attacks. There's your wand, and they're the spells that are on the wand, right? So your wand gives you general stats like, your fire rate, how long, I guess, your reload time is, kind of, in a way, although they're not reloading in the traditional sense. Things like spread, so how accurate you are, the energy usage of your wand, the maximum capacity of, I don't know, it's called energy or mana or something like that. I think it's called mana in the game. The maximum capacity of mana, how fast it regenerates, just general properties like this, right? And on top of the wands, each wand has a certain number of slots. Depends on the wand. Some of them might have 1, some might have 8, anything in between. And you can, in each one of these slots, you can put a spell or a spell modifier. So a spell might be something like it's one that's like a little like lightning bolt thing, right? And the spell, so when you put it on a wand and use it, what happens is simply you shoot a lightning bolt, right? And that's kind of simple and not very interesting, right? the cool thing is that you can kind of combine spells. So the most simple thing you could do is add, say, a spell that shoots a fireball, right? And now suddenly it's alternating between a lightning bolt and a fireball, which is okay, not too interesting still, right? But what's more interesting are the modifiers, which are pretty cool. So you might have something that, for example, makes it so that, say, you shoot multiple spells at a time, or something that has the projectile reveal areas around you when it's shot because there's a fog of war. Or you might have something that there's one that is it a modifier or is it a spell on its own? I don't actually remember. This might be a spell on its own, but one that causes you to teleport. Cool things like this, right? And so you can imagine that there are quite a bit of combinations of things that are, like quite a lot of, because there's so many spells and so many modifiers. There are so many different combinations you can have, and it just gets really interesting really fast. The combinations you can create, and there's a lot of experimentation. And this is why I said that the game can be kind of rude, and that's because you can create spells that just kill you, and you don't know that until you just try it.
That's actually really cool. That's a coall concept.
Yeah, and because it's a roguelite, once again, not my words, it's their words. Because it's a roguelite, when you die, all your progress is gone. So it can be kind of frustrating if you're, kind of mid-run, you're like, oh, what does this do? Dies.
Is it procedurally generated? That's how the...
Yes, everything is procedurally generated. Obviously within constraints, it's not literally random.
Yeah.
You'll always see the same types of enemies at the start, stuff like that, throughout each level, each stage. Your goal is to go towards essentially the bottom of the stage, where there are these portals that bring you to the next stage. And yeah, I think the first time I actually managed to kill myself, it was like I had a spell that created a giant like electrical like blast, right? And like I don't remember what was it. I think the modifier might have been like I think it had to do with where it casted the spell or something like that, and it casted it on me essentially. So I just exploded immediately, and it was a one shot. I just died. I was like, oh, okay, great. But yeah, at one time I had like there's this chainsaw spell where essentially it's just essentially a melee attack that does a bunch of damage, and a modifier that made it was kind of OP. It made it so that the spell that came after it would originate from the closest enemy. So I became a ranged melee character, in that I can just use melee attacks from range, and the good thing about the chainsaw thing is that it's very high damage. So essentially I'm just running around with essentially a attack that is essentially hit scan in a way, and also does a whole bunch of damage that require me to do nothing other than hold a button. All right, so things like that are pretty cool.
Hold on. So Post says in the chat, by the way, if you didn't already know, enemies drop double gold if they die to something that isn't direct damage from your spell. It's really frustrating. I think it's a separate comment. It's really frustrating and frankly unfair. I think he's saying about the permadeath, but it's part of the experience. The instant deaths, I mean. There you go.
Yeah, I actually didn't know about the double gold thing. I've heard there are a lot of random secrets in the game that are just like not explained. Like they're like literally like not. It's not like a normal Easter egg where you can kind of figure it out, right? It's like how are you expected to figure this out, kind of thing,
Yeah.
To figure in the game, right? I'm not really thinking about, oh, dude, like this guy dropped double golds. Why did that happen? Maybe it's because I, hit him and I didn't hit a direct hit, and I had to also notice this happening multiple times, right? That's kind of tough to figure out. I feel like the indicator. I'm gonna be quite honest. I didn't realize that it ever happened that enemies dropped double gold. I thought it was just random. So, yeah. Now, Post says there's a ton of really obscure secrets that were designed to be discovered by the online community. Yeah, I found like sort of like beginnings of what's clearly a secret, and I'm like, dude, I don't understand the rest of the puzzle, so. I don't know what to do about this. Like those scrolls you find randomly that don't seem to do anything. I'm sure they do something, but I don't know what they do. So I get to figure that out. I tried everything. I threw it in lava. That was just a waste. Didn't do anything useful. Do you know about the alchemy? No, and do not spoil it. So I do not know about the alchemy. I don't know what that is. Yeah. So. Aside from like the normal gameplay loop of just fighting through the cave, once you get to the bottom of it and you go through that portal, it brings you to the safe area where you have a little shop where you can either buy spells or wands. It seems to be random whether it gives you the choice of buying spells or wands. The thing is, With wands, it tells you the whole description of them when you want to buy them. With spells, you literally do not know what it does. You can only guess by the name, right? And if you've seen it before, then good for you. But there are a lot of spells, a lot of spell modifiers. So oftentimes it's like, oh, this thing looks cool. The name sounds nice. What does it do? Like one of them is called is one of them called box of explosives or something like that? And it just spawns a box of explosives, and it's like, oh, I mean, I guess that's useless. Not particularly the most useful thing in the world, but cool. They find it out, and it's like a little discovery thing, right? When you're playing, you're sort of discovering all the new things, which is interesting because it evolves how you experience the game. Because at the start, you come in with knowing nothing, and in the middle, you go in knowing some things, right? Some spells are, you know about some spells, and a lot of spells you don't know about, and so it's kind of like you have some familiarity. You have like your safe options because you know what these things do, and you have your risky options because you don't know what certain things do. And then towards the end game, you have like a situation where you just know what everything does at this point, right? And well, it's nothing new. And I'm in that like sort of I don't know, maybe like a beginning middle stage. I'm thinking where if I see a list of spells, I probably know what 25% of them do, and I'm wondering how this would affect my experience in terms of my review later, if I knew more or less. And it's like how we were talking about before, how it's really hard to review games because the way you experience them is constantly evolving with, Yeah. I think we mentioned how updates occur, but also the fact that like literally this game just changes how you play it like over time. So, it might be a lot better to play it now than later, or it might be a better experience later. I'm not really sure, and I can't really comment on that because I haven't played it in the future, if you get what I'm saying. So, yeah. Aside from that, you also get to choose a perk, one of 3 perks that are free. You don't have to pay anything between each level, and some of the perks are like downright like devious sounding. Like one of them's like I think it's like you bleed oil instead of blood, which is all flammable. But I think it also makes you immune to fire, so that's kind of cool. One of them is like every time you take damage, you teleport away, which sounds great, right? It's like, oh, if this something that's attacking me, I teleport away. This was horrible. I got the perk thinking, wow, this is a great idea. And I don't understand, I'm kind of spoiling things, but there are a lot of things, so I'm spoiling like 1%. But the issue with that is there are things that do damage like continuously over time, like poison, for example. So if you hit poison, right, the way that you unpoison yourself is you either run around a lot, or the much faster way is you go into like some other liquid, like water or oil, which will take the poison off of you. And you start with carrying some sort of liquid with you, and you can pour it on the ground, such as water or whatever, right? Sometimes you get unlucky and you get like toxic sludge, and it's like, okay, that's not useful to pour around necessarily, but cool.
That you know of.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's some secrets about that. I don't really get, but yeah, currently it seems just useless and annoying because you can't cure yourself of poison or being on fire as well. So thing is, if you're on fire or you're suffering from poison damage, is you'll just be teleporting and you won't stop teleporting, so you can't actually find water to get into. So you'll actually just be teleporting every I don't know how often it is, every half second or every second or whatever. You're just kind of bouncing around everywhere, and you could get unlucky and teleport into more poison or into like lava, or you can get lucky and teleport into water. I'm pretty sure every time that happened to me, I just had to like wait a long time as I was teleporting and just trying to run around to get to some water, and I never got there in time before I teleported randomly somewhere else. So yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? It's like cool, I teleport away from damage, but at the same time, certain damage makes me endure that damage longer because I cannot actually get to somewhere where I can like cure myself. So that's super interesting. And it always feels like a surprise when you're playing this game, and you try a new spell and you're like, what does this do? It's like, oh, cool. And then you find out something about it that's like either really good or really bad, and that's pretty cool. Like this one weapon that's like one spell that has like it shoots like an electricity bolt thing, and it electrifies water. And it's like, oh, that's great, unless you're in that water, and then it becomes a big issue. So yeah, it's definitely like a whole big learning experience, which is interesting because a lot of the games, the learning experience comes from a skill gap, right? And just trying to hone in on a skill. When this game, it comes from a knowledge difference and simply just not knowing, and you just learn over time, which is the case in some games where you might be learning techniques and things like this, but a lot of that is towards building a skill, right? Whereas in this case, it's the knowledge isn't built towards the knowledge you get isn't from getting isn't driving your skill increase, right? It's only driving knowledge increase, right? Which doesn't make you any better at aiming, right? Or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
It just lets you be more aware of what you're doing and pick spells and wands better, essentially. Now, also throughout the level, you also find you'll find wands that are on the ground, and you can carry up to a maximum of 4 wands. And when you're in the actual dungeon or whatever you call it, the cave, whatever it is, you can't actually remove spells from your wand. So if you want to trade a wand because you at max capacity, you also have to consider the spells that you put on your wand, which also means that sometimes you might not want to roll out with all 4 wands perfectly equipped with maximum spells, right? Because you might be anticipating a trade if one of your wands kind of sucks. So you can put your some spells in your inventory when you're in that between cave area. I'll call it a cave. I don't know what it is. When you're in the between cave area, and yeah. Now to head on to the brutality, it truly is hard. So I've only gotten to, I'm pretty sure the 3rd stage is the farthest I've gotten. I don't know if it's because I'm bad at the game or what, but generally the 2nd stage is actually pretty hard. The first one I consider pretty easy. It's actually not that bad. The second one, suddenly the difficulty just ramps up, and the 3rd one is just it's impossible. It feels like. So
my camera is overheated again. That's why it froze.
Wonderful.
But also, Post says, without spoiling much, I will say there are multiple viable solutions to most problems. And multiple viable uses for perks, liquids, spells, etc.
I see. Yeah, because sometimes I get things like one of them was in your inventory where you have your liquids. I've gotten what was it? It was was it gunpowder or something like that? I've gotten gunpowder before. I've gotten also slime before. It's not a liquid; you just shoot out slime, there's a liquid slime in the game, but the hardened slime thing. I don't know what you call it, but I was what is the point of this? I could not figure it out. I tried mixing it with liquids, and I don't think anything happened. So, Post says, I've beaten the game. I would say difficulty is extreme. Wow, I actually don't know how long the game is. I'm assuming it's a little bit more than 3 levels, so I might be quite far from ever doing that. I'm not actually sure, but that's pretty impressive. Yeah, so that's pretty much the gameplay. That's general gameplay. Super interesting idea and stuff like that. Post says, it's much longer than 3. Yeah, I imagine so. In terms of graphics, this game definitely has a really nice art style to it. The fact that every pixel is actually simulated makes things way cooler by default. Seeing things like liquid, actually flow and stuff like that, it's wow, it's flowing by pixel, which is kind of weird and also kind of cool. Things like that. I don't know if it really enhances the gameplay that much, compared to it being a not purely pixel-based thing. It doesn't really feel like it does. It just makes it cooler, in my opinion, oftentimes. Now, that does come with a detriment in terms of performance. The game runs kind of poorly on a lot of hardware. This game is definitely not GPU bound. It is by far CPU bound, not even close. If you go to the
makes
CPU
a lot of
page,
sense.
yeah, there's actually, I think, a GDC talk by them talking about how they actually optimize and stuff like that. And it works in a chunk system where I believe they have every thread working on one chunk of the map within a certain range of you. Yeah. After a certain range, they don't process anything after that. I think it's more clever than that, but that's the basic gist of it and stuff like that. So if you look at the minimum requirements on Steam, the minimum processor requirement is dual-core CPU, Intel 5 or better, and you go to recommend it, and all it says is the more cores, the better, which I've never seen before. That's really interesting. On my laptop, which is I don't remember the CPU actually, but it is 4 cores, 8 threads. It actually struggles at times. I've never experienced a CPU bound issue on this computer. Partially because I don't have a discrete GPU, so it's kind of by default typically GPU bound. Yeah. But usually everything's kind of light work for the CPU. But what the game does is kind of nicely, instead of like freezing up and stuff like that, it just slows down time. Kind of like From the Depths, where if you give a low frame rate, it'll just slow down time, which is kind of nice, but also kind of frustrating because it changes the experience in a weird way where it becomes easier and also less, it's less intense, which is like, dude, I was like in the middle of action and suddenly I'm just in slow motion and I can hit all my shots easily. And it's like, that's kind of weird and unfortunate. Now, on my desktop computer, which is a Ryzen either 1600 or 1700, I remember. 6 cores, 12 threads, no problem. I've never experienced slowdown ever on that. So
more cores
I wonder if it's more of a core issue and less of a CPU speed issue, because I'm fairly certain my laptop processor actually has runs faster in terms of hertz. Although I understand that doesn't necessarily matter entirely because there are more intricacies to CPUs, but they use the same architecture, or at least one of them is like, at least my CPU. Well, my CPU's architecture is probably newer, so it's actually even worse in terms of in terms of speed per core. It's probably way better on my laptop than my desktop, is my guess, but I don't know for sure. So that's what that is gameplay wise, and I guess wise as well. It's pretty nice. In terms of also I should say that it is hard to play as a colorblind person who's red-green colorblind because certain liquids look the same, such as the poison liquid is like greenish, and that could look like other liquids, like oil or blood for me. And so sometimes I have to just hover over it and be like, "What is that actually?" Because it'll tell you if you hover over it. And I'm pretty sure there is no colorblind mode in the game, or else I probably would have turned it on. So it's just tough because I just don't know. Otherwise, it doesn't really bother me. There's no enemies that are like, dude, you gotta know this is red or something like that. It doesn't really matter. They're all pretty distinct in terms of their design, except that like one like floating fire head thing and that one like floating like snow head thing. I guess they're kind of look the same. But the colors are so different. I don't think there's any form of color blindness other than like the one that makes you like, that's really rare, that makes you like only see in grayscale. I guess that one would be kind of tough, but otherwise you're chilling. It doesn't really matter. They look different enough. In terms of sound, the music, maybe this is, I don't know if it's a hot take or not. I don't think the music is very interesting at all. I think it's very like to the point where I don't really remember it that much. To be quite honest, it's very, very unnoticeable and stuff like that. In terms of general sound design, I think it's quite nice how they managed to get sounds to play for things colliding that sound correct. Different materials colliding and things like that sound like they should sound like that, stuff like that. I think it adds to the atmosphere. Certain creatures will make different noises, and it's kind of nice. The way their projectiles too will make noises. Some of them also kind of cool. I wouldn't say sound is anything incredible either. It's just good, and yeah, nothing crazy about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the biggest qualities of the game are Post said Noita has music. Yes. It comes sometimes. It's not very often, and it's not very interesting. It's not like it's like Minecraft where it's like it comes, occasionally, but it's actually kind of good when it comes on. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, that's nice. It's just not interesting in general. So, yeah. In terms the big things that are very I guess the big things that I take away from this game are it's very difficult and also very replayable. So I wouldn't say even compared to other roguelike, or maybe I shouldn't use that term, but self-described roguelike games I've played, I feel like Noita is pretty replayable, and at least for now. I guess I haven't gone to the end and stuff like that, but it feels like I can play it for quite a lot of time in the future, and it is also very difficult. But what's kind of cool is I'm sure that the difficulty decreases as you learn more, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, it's ultra difficult now, and it kind of prevents you from winning based on like skill alone, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like you're bound by knowledge in a way, like they're actual like typically in a game, there are knowledge checks in a lot of games, but a lot of times there are skill checks. So if you think of a game like another hard game like Dark Souls, right, or any Souls-like game, what you'll find is yes, there are knowledge checks in those games, but when you go up against, like, say, like a particularly hard boss in a region, in an area of the game, you'll find that it is oftentimes a skill check and not a knowledge check. Like, you know what to do. It's more of a matter of execution. And yes, there's a learning curve to, like, okay, how does this enemy operate, right? What is their attacking pattern and things like that. And yes, you can get better, but I haven't played a Souls-like game, but it seems to me that you could actually, if you were really good, simply like actually get pretty far based on just skill alone, if you get what I'm saying, right? And not actually be required to know everything about the game and stuff like that, right? And like know the exact timings of things and stuff like that. Also, wait, it's not true. I played Souls-like games before, but I forgot. Yeah, so it's really interesting that it's more of it seems like more like a knowledge check game than a skill check game, because the skill is actually kind of simple, right? It's very simple, point and click, aim at a thing type game in 2 dimensions in a side-scrolling way. Not to say that there's no skill to it. There definitely is skill to it, but that's definitely not the big thing, and it seems to me. So, yeah, that sort of drives its replayability, which makes you think that once you actually know everything, the replayability decreases. And I guess we can ask Post what you think, because if you finish the game, do you think that knowing so much about the game now makes it a lot less replayable, or do you think like it's still fun to like do a full run of it? Is it just as fun, or is it like the fun has kind of gone away because there's no more discovery and stuff like that? There's so much stuff I haven't done everything. Dang, so even after completing the game, there's more to know, I guess.
Dang, yeah.
I guess that's the name of the game, That's just what it is. I only know about 60% of the stuff. Yeah.
How much is the game, by the way?
It's relatively inexpensive, I believe. It is... You can get on a bundle for all Nola games for $60, so it's at least less than $60.
Wow.
It's 20, looks like. It's 20 right now.
Sounds like a pretty good deal.
And you can buy the official soundtrack that, I don't know why you do that, for with the game for an additional $7. So, yeah.
Nice.
$20 is a seriously good value. Yes, it is. It's kind of crazy. I think they could have charged more probably, and definitely would have been worth it. But yeah, it's great. Aside from that, I guess my final thoughts are great game. I've been thinking about like how I should rate things, because I haven't been on Backlogged recently, and that's how I was rating a bunch of games on Backlogged. I was like, how would this fit into my backlog score? It's at least a 3.5, and I would say, I don't know, because once again, reviewing is hard, but gut feeling is like, what do I think it is, right? It's like, it feels like it's like a 3.75, but you can't do that in Backlogged. It's like, it's pretty good, you know what I'm saying? I really like the idea. It's not really my type of game. Like, I think it's fun, but it's not like really my type of game, if you get what I'm saying, right? Even though it's really fun, right? If I was a different person, I think I'd have way more fun with this game because it seems really well made and stuff like that. But it's not really like, like if someone was like, dude, this is what the game is. It would be like, dude, because I love, as I mentioned before, I love like technological innovations or just any technological feats. I'd be like, dude, I like the idea of the technology. I want to play it just for that reason, of like the everything, every pixel is simulated, right? That sounds like incredibly computationally expensive. Like, how is that done, right? Yeah. And I'll play on that reason alone. But if that wasn't the case, I was like, dude, this is roguelike and it requires a lot of knowledge and stuff like that, and like this is how it works, I'd probably be like, oh, I probably won't buy it. But I don't regret buying it. It was generally a fun experience, and it's kind of surprised me in how good it was. So yeah, that's pretty much my all-in-all thing. 3.75 out of 5. It's pretty good for me. Yeah, I would recommend giving it a shot if you're interested in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm like, this actually looks pretty fun. I'm like, but I have no time, so I shouldn't tempt myself.
All right.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
One more thing I forgot to say. I do feel like the start of the game was kind of slow, which is kind of weird because I said it was really hard. But sometimes I feel like I die and I spawn in. I'm like, man, I gotta do the whole like beginning, like really easy first stage again, which typically I don't die in it. So, and I feel very, it's not as fun when you have like the basic spells and the basic wands, where it's like, I already know what these do, and they're very simple. They don't do anything that interesting. The most cool thing you'll get is a projectile that bounces off of walls. Wow, incredible! I haven't seen this before. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. Now, I had a crazy thought while I was while you were talking about this kind of stuff, and perhaps this is a conversation better expanded for our AI roundtable that might be occurring relatively soon. And if you would like to be on the roundtable, by the way, well, if you're someone of interest on that topic, you know about that topic, you're developing or whatever it is, definitely hit us up. Our email's in the description, our Discord's there as well. Or if you just want to be on there just to chat, just be part of the podcast, well, you got to be a local supporter. So then go to mixedmedia.locals.com and we'll invite you onto the podcast to be part of the roundtable. But one thought I had was, wouldn't it be crazy to have essentially an infinite amount of possibilities, and the results are determined by AI? Now that's extremely hard. I grant that, but it's interesting when you start thinking about the limitations of like hard coding things. You know what I mean? And you're like, I'm kind of relieved of that burden. Maybe I could do cool things where spells are kind of generated, if that makes sense. What a spell does is generated on the fly based off of some other properties or something like that. But you're not going to have to hard code 5,000 different spells, if you get what I mean.
Right, that's interesting. Although I have noticed that ChatGPT isn't actually like, sometimes its creativity is lacking. So I wonder how it'd be with this what do you call it? This application. Obviously, you don't have to use ChatGPT. You can use what's it called? The Facebook one, the Meta one, I guess.
I can't remember.
Or Google Bart, I guess. If you wanted to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more creative in that application or something like that. But I'm sure you can squeeze out creativity by doing something that's more advanced than a simple prompt of just like, give me some ideas of this. You have to do something that's probably very specific and to like, you wouldn't want to generate a spell like win the game. That'd be a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly.
Give it confines and stuff like that. And what would be kind of hard is like patching bugs, because if you have a spell that's buggy, right, and it appears one time, it's like, okay, well, the AI made this spell, but like we don't know like how, we don't necessarily know how to make it not do that again, or like why did it code it wrong? Or I mean, it wouldn't likely be dynamically coding, because then you have to recompile the game potentially.
No, you'd probably have like constrained output, which is like, you can move things, you can do this constrained set of things, decide what combination of the.
It's like a programming language in a way, but it's more like Scratch. And it's like very simple, broad like building blocks to do a thing, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So yeah, that could be really cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel kind of like inspired to try this, but like I know it's going to take like infinite amount of time.
It's certainly a massive project, but if you're the first to do it, you know what I mean? It's like
not necessarily for like a spell casting thing, but like because when people talk about like AI in like being used for development, oftentimes it's like, well, you can use AI to like generate content, but like things like infinite world generation or something like that, right? With like characters that say different things and different names and different personalities, right? Like different potentially different voices, right? That's kind of cool. But I never thought about like I don't think people maybe people thought about it before. I don't know, different like abilities and things like that. Something that's like less like part of the setting. People think about the setting, I think, a lot, when I think about AI generation, but instead like literally like changing the gameplay based on what the AI says,
Yeah, Post says, I think it would take a very advanced and polished AI model to generate consistently fun content. Most AI content tends to be more or less garbage. Yeah, that's one of the problems is that you can't, what if what it generates is just constantly boring just because of the particular path you take or something? I don't know, like it just doesn't.
It could be something like a cool spell, right? Like something that sounds cool, like, oh yeah, like, the projectile like arcs at like a 10-degree angle like all the time. It's like, okay, but I can't hit anything now. It's not fun.
That actually prompted another thought. What if it's combined with text to speech for some like Aragon like spell casting that's dynamically produced?
Like you say something and then like it just does it.
Yeah, well, the sort of be like a knowledge thing too, like where it's like. A Post said that would be sick. Yeah, now that I think about it, I'm like that would.
I mean, you could make an Aragon game actually like that. Like, Well, I don't know if you could, technically speaking, but it's possible to try at least.
Exactly. You basically, you could do something as simple as Brisingar, and then maybe it like kind of interprets that which is fire in the ancient language. It interprets fire in like whatever way it wants to in the moment, or whatever. Or you could be more specific and take less risk and try to like constrain it. But it'd be actually the randomness might be kind of interesting, like if that makes sense. Like the off kilter, like unpredictableness might be like a mechanic in of itself, which would be interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Oh, well, the thing is, from a marketing perspective, it's interesting. It's a very interesting marketing thing because you have double-edged sword. Like yeah, on one hand, this crazy idea, right? And people be like, "Dude, that's crazy, cool." Assuming you've marketed it correctly. But at the same time, you can now constrain the game to only people who have microphones, which is like a lot of people, but not everybody, obviously. And you also need technology that like can. So, OpenAI released I think it's called Whisper, and like it's supposed to be able to turn text into speech very well, essentially. So you can use something like that. You need technology that actually works well, and the environment can't be garbage, I assume. Although I don't know actually how good the technology is. So
yeah, typing can be an option, like post a suggestion.
It just confines you to certain game ideas. Like it can't be like a real time combat game where you're like Aragon, right? Where you're like yelling spells, right? Unless it's like a turn based Aragon game or something like that, right? Because if it's real time, then now it's based on your ability to type suddenly.
Yeah, Post says why not? Yeah, just type fast. Yeah.
Mid combat, you're sword fighting. You're like, I gotta type this out real quick.
Maybe like autocomplete. Oh, that might make it unfair.
I still, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to talk into it would be really cool. Just saying something and then like fire appears.
But it'd be hilarious if you misspelled a word and something.
Oh, now it's also like language issues too, because not everybody can say certain sounds, right? So it's like, okay, can everyone actually say Brisingar? I assume not.
Well, also the problem is, can the AI understand? Can it actually text to speech Brisingar? Because it probably can't. So that's another issue.
I wonder if you can train these things to. Oh, you can probably. I mean, now we're getting really advanced, right? Yeah. You train something to. No, because I assume the way these work, right, is like you need to give a bunch of sample, like audio, and then give it like what is actually said in text, right? Essentially the prompt and the solution. But if it's a made up language, you don't have the prompt. You don't have the sample data, the training data. So I don't know how it's going to work.
You'd have to make it, which sounds expensive.
Unless you like made it like English. So maybe you trained it to. I don't know how it works. But maybe instead of detecting words, it detects like syllables, right? And now you can create words out of normal like syllable sounds that occur in the English language commonly, or something like that, right? So it sounds like English, but with made up words, essentially.
Yeah.
But then, like, now it's like only English speakers can use this, and like now imagine localizing it, and now it has to be in like, you have to train AI in like, I don't know, Russian like sounds, and then now you have to make it all Russian like sounding fake words and stuff like that.
Yeah, it does sound, but I'm just saying, if someone pulled that off, that would be that'd probably be like a singularity type event, and it would change a lot, probably create a genre in of itself, I'm sure.
It would be crazy, yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, if you want to hear more cool ideas like that, definitely subscribe, because we're going to be talking about AI in a big roundtable event, probably within the month or something like that. And if you want to see some updates on when that's happening, definitely join the Discord, which I keep plugging because it's the best way to get in touch with us. So yeah. And link is in the description.
All right.
Well, Nathan, you want to take us out of this beautiful, beautiful episode that we just did?
Sure. Thanks for sticking around for the Mixed Media podcast. Yeah, it's been fun. If you missed the earlier segment, if you're not watching live, or if you're watching live and you still missed the earlier segment, Irving did arguing with Reddit, where for the first time ever, this is unprecedented, he responded to YouTube. And it was a real competition with him and 2 other people. So you can look at that on, if you want to see some of that. It's pretty interesting. And yeah, so check out all our VODs and stuff like that. I believe that's it, yeah. I think you said everything else, right?
Yeah, shout out to Post 99 Crime, Rob Sharma, and Kairos. They all have their own platforms as well. Or maybe not all of them, actually. Now that I think about it, Rob does. But 99 Crime has a YouTube channel. Kairos has a Twitch, and Post has a game on Steam. And if you want links to that stuff, definitely come onto our Discord. We'll plop those on for you. But shout out to them for helping this podcast be not, a detriment to our wallets. And if you want to join them, you can see the perks at mixedmedia.locals.com.
Yep.
All
right. Well, with that, thanks for watching.
All right. See you next week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
See you.
Look, tell a man no trouble. I don't want beef, man. I just want vibes. Big man like me, no need for the telephone hype. I got too much getting online. One rule, then dead I'm on site. Wrong move, I bet they gon' ride. No need for the telephone hype, nah. No need for the snoozing. Big whip outside, I'm cruising. Big stick inside, no losing. Better watch out for the snake and Judas. Don't ask them who this is. I bet they know what I'm moving in. I bet I show it into a dim. How you hate and then lose again? How you hating my vibes? Why you wasting my time? Getting hype on my line. Tell a man I don't want feedback, I just want relax. Brand new whip, two-tone, I need that brand new hit. You know, like lean back, brand new bits I live in. We back, man, you never gon' like us. Get them on sight now, let them on light. That way they know I'm more righteous. Look at my life, I'm living alright. I'm nice, you know I'm alright. Cause looking like Christ, no need for the hype or fight or telephone vipers. No